Hey there and welcome. Look, as a technical expert, your skills are top-notch, no question about it. In this explainer, we're going to make sure your English communication is right up there with them. We're going to dive into 4 super high-impact tools that'll make your technical English clearer, more objective, and just sound incredibly professional.
So just think about that for a second. You can design a crazy complex system, you can troubleshoot a mission-critical failure, but when you have to explain it in a report or a job interview, does your English truly capture that level of expertise? It's a really important question because nailing your communication can be the key that unlocks those huge career opportunities.
So let's think of this less like a dry grammar lesson and more like we're building a practical toolkit together. We're not just learning rules, we are adding 4 essential, really powerful tools to your professional arsenal. By the end of this, you're going to have a clear framework for talking about your technical know-how with total confidence and precision. Okay, let's jump right in with our first tool. This is all about how you describe what you do every day. We're going to focus on explaining those complex systems and processes with the kind of objectivity and clarity that senior managers and interviewers are really looking for. First up in our toolkit is the passive voice. Now, I know what you might be thinking, ugh, grammar, but stick with me because this one is absolutely fundamental in technical English. The idea is simple. Instead of focusing on who or what does the action, we focus on what receives the action. The structure is pretty straightforward. You just use a form of the verb to be, like is or are, and follow it with the past participle of your main verb. So what's the big deal? Why is this so important? Well, there are 3 killer reasons. First, it puts the spotlight where it belongs in a technical setting on the process itself, not on the person doing it. Second, it's just more efficient. We don't need to say the technician tests the equipment when it's obvious who does it. And third, and this is a big one, it just sounds more formal, more objective, which is the gold standard in professional communication. And check this out. This makes the shift crystal clear. On the left, in the active voice, the generator supplies power. Okay, fine. The focus is on the generator. But look at the right, the passive version. Power is supplied by the generator. See that? The focus immediately shifts to the power, the process, the result. That passive version is exactly what you'd find in any professional technical manual. So the passive voice is an awesome start, but it gets even more powerful when you use it inside a clear structure. Let's move to our next tool and see how this all builds into a complete framework for explaining pretty much any technical system you can think of. And here it is. A beautifully simple 4-step framework. Seriously, if an interviewer ever asks you to, say, explain how a frequency converter works, this is your secret weapon. You start with the definition, then you say where it's located, then describe its function, and, this is the part everyone forgets, you finish with its purpose. Why does it matter? This structure guarantees your answer is logical, thorough, and just sounds incredibly professional. Let's see this whole thing in action. This description of a main switchboard follows our steps perfectly. It kicks off with the definition, the central electrical distribution unit. It implies the location on board. It explains the function, receives power, and distributes it. And it nails the purpose, to ensure power is safely directed. This structure, often using our friend the passive voice, creates the perfect technical explanation. All right, great. We've got how to talk about systems covered. Now let's add a tool specifically for your writing. Whether you're working on your CV, a technical report, or a formal email, precision is everything. And it all starts with the absolute foundation of all good writing. And that foundation is the complete sentence. Honestly, this is totally non-negotiable in formal writing. Every single sentence you write has to have 2 key parts. A subject, that's the who or what, and a verb, which is the action or the state of being. Think of it as the basic blueprint for any clear communication. Now, if you're missing either one of those key parts, you create something called a fragment. And in professional writing, a fragment isn't just a little oopsie, it can actually be seen as a pretty serious error that can kind of undermine your credibility. It can make your writing seem a bit rushed or even unprofessional. Here's a classic example you see all the time, especially on CVs: installation of the frequency converter. This phrase doesn't have a verb. What happened? Who did it? The fix is so simple. Just add a subject and a verb. The frequency converter was installed. And hey, would you look at that? Our old friend, the passive voice, makes it sound clean and professional. Here's another super common one. A word ending in ing, like carrying, can't be the main verb of a sentence all by itself. It's missing a subject. Who is doing the carrying? The fix, again, is easy. Just add one. I carry out weekly inspections. It's such a small change, but it makes a world of difference in how clear and complete your writing is.
Excellent work. We've got tools for describing systems and for writing solid sentences. Our final tool is all about how you phrase those sentences to really showcase your experience, whether that's on your CV or in a job interview. It all comes down to picking the right verb tense.
The choice usually boils down to these two, the simple past and the present perfect. Here's the deal. You use the simple past for things that are completely finished and happened at a specific time, like, I completed the project last year. You use the present perfect for general experience that's still relevant to who you are as a professional today, like, I have worked on 3 different vessel types. And to make this even easier for you, here is a handy little cheat sheet. If you're using words that point to a specific moment in the past, like in 2022 or last year, you've got to use the simple past. If you're talking more generally, with phrases like so far or throughout my career, the present perfect is definitely your go-to tense.
And this sentence right here shows you perfectly how these two tenses work together as a team. You start big picture with the present perfect to give that overall context. I have worked as an ETO for 5 years. Then you switch to the simple past to zoom in on specific, dated examples. I completed 2 dry dock cycles, and I received my certificate in 2022. This combination paints a full, detailed, and really professional picture of your career journey.
And there we have it, your upgraded professional communication toolkit all ready to go. Just remember these key takeaways. Use the passive voice to focus on the process. Describe systems with that clear 4-step framework. Make sure every single sentence has a subject and a verb. And finally, use your tenses with precision to really showcase your valuable experience. So as you head back to your work, maybe you're writing a report later, updating your CV, or prepping for an interview, I have a question for you. Which one of these powerful tools are you going to put into practice first? Seriously, picking just one to start with can immediately boost how your expertise is perceived. Thanks so much for tuning in.